Hello engineers, my name is Teacher Richard and I'm so excited to show you our project today that we're going to help Jack and Jill build. Because Jack and Jill, they have a very big problem that we need to help them with. Okay, Jack and Jill, they live in a town that's really high up in the mountains. Okay, it's about 8,000 feet up. And when you are that high in elevation, and it starts to rain and it's really cold outside, that rain can actually turn into snow, okay? So Jack and Jill, the town they live in, it snowed a lot last night. And when Jack and Jill woke up, they were hoping they could drive to school, but there was too much snow on the road, okay? And this town's super cool because the snow that it snows is actually rainbow, okay? So we're gonna pretend that this is the snow on the road that's blocking Jack and Jill from getting home. And Jack and Jill, they tried to move that snow, those big pieces of chunky snow by themselves, but it was a little bit too heavy. They were getting tired, it was taking so long. They tried to use shovels, but their shovels were not big enough and they were still getting tired. And they figured out that they needed to build a machine or a vehicle that was strong and powerful enough to help them move the snow for them, okay? So Jack and Jill remembered when they were in another town with lots of snow and they saw a vehicle driving on the road and it had a really cool thing in the front that helped push the snow off the road so that cars had a safe place to drive, okay? And that vehicle, if you've seen one yourself, is called a snowplow, okay? So we get to help Jack and Jill build a snowplow today, engineers. You ready to get started? Okay, now, first thing is that our snowplow, it needs to be sturdy and stable so that it can drive on the snow, so that it can help push the snow off the road. If our snowplow is not sturdy and stable, if it gets stuck in the snow as well, right? If it can't drive in the snow, then it's not going to be able to help move any of the snow off the road, and it's not going to help Jack and Jill get to their school, okay? So their machine, their vehicle, it has to be strong in order to perform the job, okay? Now, we're going to use our real rubber tires today, okay? These tires are made of rubber, just like your parents' tires are made out of. And when you look at these tires up close, you'll notice it has all these little grooves around the outside, just like your parents' tires do, okay? And these grooves right here, this is called the tread on a tire. Now, when a tire is brand new out of the factory, this tread is really well defined. It has deep grooves. You can see where all the lines are. It's very easy to tell, okay? Just like if you have a brand new pair of shoes and you look at the bottom, you'll be able to see that it has tread on it. It has little grooves that are well defined and it has a set pattern, okay? And engineers, just like with these wheels, engineers with your shoes have figured out the type of tread, the design, and the shape and the depth that helps make your shoes stick to the ground so that you don't slip. If you take a pair of new shoes and you look at the tread, and then you take a pair of really old shoes that you've had for a long time and you look at the tread, you will notice that your old shoes, some of them might actually look flat. And if you've ever worn old shoes with no tread on the bottom, when it's slippery outside, okay, it is very easy to fall on them. And the same thing happens with tread on tires. Now, do you know what people call it when the tread gets worn down and the tires start to get smooth around the outside? They say that they're going bald, okay, which I always love that term. So we're going to use our real rubber wheels that has good tread on it to make sure that our snow plow, that the tires can drive in the snow and they're not going to slip, okay, so that when it rolls, it's going to keep moving forward. If our tread is going bald, then the tire can spin but not actually move anywhere because it's not gripping the ground, okay? And that's why cars that are in winter towns, they actually have special snow tires. The grooves are made specifically to be driven in snow, where in places where it doesn't snow, you have regular tires with regular tread. So we're gonna take our wheels. I already have my hubcaps, which are these pieces that go inside the wheel. I already have my hubcaps in this one. Okay, and teachers, you can put your hubcaps in the wheels before class if you'd like to. It can help save some time, especially for younger students. But it is good fine motor practice for the students to practice it. And then we're going to take this wheel and its hubcaps and we're going to attach it to the chassis or the chassis of our snowplow, okay, using our axle piece. And this axle piece has little grooves in it that fit perfectly into the hubcap. You might have to spin them a little bit, but once you push it on, then we are good to go. Okay, and if you don't want to make it beforehand, then the students can do it. And the way they do it is you're going to have your two flat parts of your hubcap going together like this, and the two knobs are sticking out. So we're going to put the knob end in, and it's going to stick out through this little hole right here. Just make sure that it's nice and flush. And then it has these little holes on top that you can line up to make sure that they're going to line up with the axle. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to stick it through this end of the axle right here. Okay, now you'll notice right now they're not spinning that great. And the reason is because the hubcaps are actually too close to this red brick right here. So what we want to do is I put my finger on this axle here, and I like to push and just give it a little bit of room. And even if it slides back and forth a little bit, that's okay because it gives it way more freedom to spin, okay? So I'm gonna push it in a little bit. You try to find the happy medium between spinning freely and not sliding too much. Maybe I'll go in a little bit more like that. There we go, that looks good, okay? Now for the back set of wheels, I'm going to put them, actually this is the front set of wheels, but I just put it in second. We're gonna put one goes on the very back hole, okay, on the end, and the other side, it's gonna go on the third hole from the end, okay, and that's very important you do that, and you'll see why in just a second. So I'm gonna put these hubcap pieces together, line up those holes, connect it to our, what's it called? Axle, that's right. Your parents' car has two axles for its four wheels, just like this one does. If the car has more than four wheels, it might have more than two axles. Although you can have more than two wheels per axle, right? If we had a longer axle, we could have two here, two here, two here, two here. Then we could have 8 wheels on 2 axles. But most cars have 4 wheels on 2 axles. I'm gonna slide it on like that. I'm gonna do the same. There we go, little precision move to make sure that it spins freely but doesn't slide. All right, and our wheels are looking good. Okay. So we have a pretty cool kind of basic car, right? But we're not building a car today. What are we building? We're building a snow plow. So for the plow piece on the front, okay, this is when it gets cool, engineers. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take any rectangle brick and I'm gonna put it on the front where the wheels are further back, because we need this, we don't want wheels right here getting in the way of our cool contraption. And then we're gonna take 2 rectangles with holes, and we're going to put them right on top of that green brick like this, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to take these big long yellow bricks with holes, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a rectangle out of them. So we're going to go like that, and like this. So this is what yours should look like. We've got a very cool, very sturdy rectangle, right? If we're gonna have a vehicle that's doing heavy duty work, we have to make sure it is built properly. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our big long green axle, okay? It's the exact same grooves as the gray axle, it's just longer. The reason we want the longer one is because we're gonna push it all the way through right here, and then it's gonna go through the middle hole on this yellow piece right here. Okay, how do you know it's the middle? Well, you can look and try to make sure it's balanced, or you can also count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 holes, that's an odd number. So that means we need to have 5 holes on each end. So this is 5 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 holes, and then my middle is right in between them, okay? So there is my middle. Okay, now you want to make sure that down here, this piece, we don't want this to be lower than the wheels. If it was lower than the wheels, okay, then this piece would be dragging on the ground and the wheels wouldn't be able to roll. Okay, so it's very important that you put this one at the top of the rectangle and this one at the bottom. Now, the space between a car's chassis, this red part, between a car's chassis and the ground that it's driving on, that's called ground clearance, okay? And some cars, you want to have a lot of ground clearance. You want the car to be really high off the ground. Like think about a monster truck, for example. It's so high off the ground, right? It can actually drive over a smushed down car and the car doesn't hit the chassis part, so it doesn't get stuck and it can keep driving, okay? Other cars, you want a low clearance. On a snowplow, we want a really low clearance. Now, why is that? Why do we want this to be as close to the ground as possible? Because if it was raised up as we drove, any snow that was underneath this part right here would not get hit by the snowplow, okay? So we want to make sure that our snowplow is as close to the ground as possible. Now, once the piece is in and we make sure our ground clearance is good, okay, then we're going to lock this in place so it doesn't slide by using our lock bricks, lock pieces. Now these are hubcaps and wheels, that's one of their uses, but another use is that we can help lock pieces in place by sliding them onto the axle. So we slide one end on there, one end on here. Now our plow is nice and stable, engineers. And if you get down low, you can look, it is only like a millimeter off the ground, okay? It is the perfect height off the ground to make sure that no snow can sneak under that, okay? Now, Jack and Jill probably want to go for a ride, right? If you built an awesome snowplow, you'd want to drive it, wouldn't you? Okay, now let's put Jack and Jill back here on the snowplow. Okay, now this looks okay, but I think there might be something wrong. What do you think is the issue here? Jack and Jill can't see where they're going, right? The snowplow's too high, they're not going to be able to see where they're going. That could be dangerous. So we need to build some seats that they can sit on. Okay, so I'm going to go, let's see, this is 2 bricks high. So how high do we need to go to make sure they're higher than that? At least 3, right? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I like to always reinforce my bricks, click them together tight. There we go. I'm going to put 3 bricks right there. And we're going to put Sam right here. And we're going to put, Jack right there and Jill right there. Sometimes I forget their names. I have so many of these friends. We're going to put Jack right there and Jill right here. Okay, this looks pretty good, but what's the issue? Oh, Jill can't see, right? Jack knows where he's going, but Jill doesn't know where she's going, and that is not a good feeling. Have you ever been on the back of a tandem bicycle and the person in the front has the handlebars and they're controlling where you're going and you can't even see past them and you have no idea what's ahead of you? I have. It is not a good feeling, okay? So let's make sure that Jill can also see, and that's an easy engineering fix. We just go 1 square higher and boom. Now they both have a clear shot of where they are going. Okay, it's time to test this snowplow out, engineers. Now, I love snowplows because they are a utility vehicle. Okay, do you know what that means? Utility vehicle means it's a vehicle that can perform a specific job. Okay, so I want you to think about some utility vehicles for just a couple seconds, right? Try to think of a vehicle you've seen that are built to perform a specific job, okay? You might have thought of a fire truck, right? An ambulance, a mail truck, even a food truck, right, is a vehicle that is built to perform a specific job. Even an ice cream truck, right, it has freezer inside that can help keep all that ice cream cold as it drives around. Okay, there are crane trucks, there are cherry pickers, there are bulldozers, and there are snowplows, okay? So there are lots of utility vehicles, and engineers have worked really hard to make sure that not only they perform the job they're supposed to, but also that they're safe to share the road with other cars, okay? Now, let's test our utility vehicle out. So we're gonna scatter the snow around, okay? And if you would like, okay, you can also take tissue paper and crumple it up. You can take bits of printer paper and crumple them up if you want. You have lots of options. You can even do flour, okay, which is obviously a lot messier, but the kids love it, okay? So it is up to you what you want to test, what material you want to test for your snowplow. Okay, so Jack and Jill, the road is stuck with snow. Let's see if they can make it safe to drive on again. Ready? Whew. We got one more piece. Nice work, engineers. Check that out. This road is clear and ready to drive on, okay? Now, engineers, some bonus challenges for you, okay, after you build the original model, okay? Can you think of any ways to make this snowplow even wider? Now, why do we want it wider, okay? If you have a really wide road, okay, let's say you have a road that's this wide, right? And this snowplow can get a little bit of the road going one way, and then it turns around and it gets another part of the road, right? Then it has to turn around and get another part of the road, okay? And then it has to turn around and get another part of the road. Oh man, that took 4 trips to clear the road, okay? So it's good, it gets the job done, but it's not very efficient, which means it took kind of a long time. Where, if you figure out a way to make it wider, right? If it's twice as wide, then it would only take 2 trips. If it was 4 times as wide, if it was as wide as this whole road, it would only take 1 trip, okay? So there are all these ways to make projects more efficient. All right, and this is one way to make your snowplow even wider, is we can connect rectangles going out, right? Ooh, check that out, okay? We can do that on both sides, and if we keep going out, it's almost like we're building a staircase, right? When you look at it like this, okay? You make it so wide, you can clear this whole road in only 1 drive. All right, engineers? So that is the bonus challenge I have for you today. See how wide you can make your snowplow. I hope you have fun testing it out. You can, of course, make Sam and Sarah's seat taller as well if you would like. I'm excited to see the snowplow that you build, engineers, and next time you see a utility vehicle on the road performing a job, I want you to think about all the engineers who worked really hard to make that vehicle safe and perform its job that helps everyone. All right, thank you so much for building with me today, engineers, and I will see you soon.